Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. As per usual, I'm your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start this episode off the same way we start every episode off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you spend it with us truly does mean the world to me, so thank you. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro. All right, we are back. As you can see, we are not on the set of the Mac City Morning Show. I'm not going to tell you where we are, and I'm not going to tell you who the guest is, as per usual. I'm going to let them do that themselves. So on that note, sir, can you please tell everybody at home who you are, what you're about, and where we are today?
Cool, man. Yeah, my name is Jamie Phillips. I am one of the co-founders of Modern Gravity Float Studio here in Edmonton, Alberta. And yeah, this is the shop. This is what we do.
It's a pretty cool shop, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So I had the privilege to go float yesterday. I came here once before the pandemic. It is a crazy experience, to say the least.
Pretty wild.
So I know you from Fort McMurray.
Yeah.
Born and raised Fort McMurray. Then you moved down to Edmonton. Mm-hmm. Let's start off before we start talking about Modern Gravity. Explain to me your journey from Fort McMurray to here. Like, how did that all transpire?
Cool, man. So yeah, I was born and raised Fort Mac. I grew up there for about 18 years. Yeah. Just before I turned 18, graduating, wanted to get out of the city, small town life. I was like, I want to expand my horizons to a degree. Yeah. So I decided to come to Edmonton. I had the opportunity to do it. Wanted to go to school. Ended up not working out in that way. Yeah. Started working at a warehouse. Okay. And then eventually, over many years, that kind of turned into kind of where we are now. Okay. Yeah, so.
Crazy. So like, what kind of warehouse? My dad worked in a warehouse his whole life up in Fort Mac. What kind of warehouse were you working down here at?
It was like a fittings and like pipeline kind of supplier. Okay. Actually, my oldest brother, you know Roddy. Yeah, he got me a job there. Okay. He kind of saved me because like, it's either get a job or like head back home. Right. So I was like, I want to stay in the city, and he kind of hooked me up. Nice. Stayed there for a bit, and then actually, so like the whole kind of reiteration of everything is just like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was supposed to go to school at NAIT to do like a pre-trades course. Right. But when me and my friend applied, we applied to the wrong campus. I had no idea. Okay. So like the first day of school came around, and they're like, oh, your school's in like Medicine Hat or like Grand Prairie. Yeah. And I was like, oh, where's Grand Prairie? Is that a different campus? Like, no, it's a different city. And I was like, oh crap, right? Like I had no idea. Yeah. I guess maybe Google Maps didn't exist at that time or something. Right. I don't know, right? But yeah, so I had to kind of figure that out. So that's what got the warehouse job. Oh, okay. And then actually one day at the warehouse, I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this forever. I know that. What do I want to do? And I just thought, well, like, what does my dad do? Mm-hmm. My dad happens to be like, he's like a Red Seal millwright, which is like an industrial mechanic. Right. So I actually just opened up a phone book and looked up millwright, like a Yellow Pages. Yeah. And I phoned all 11 places, and I somehow got a job. Okay. And then like started the trade kind of career and kind of went from there. Okay. Yeah.
And so how does that transfer, being a millwright, calling, looking up at the Yellow Pages, toning a float tank? Yeah, so like I went actually back to McMurray for work for a bit, like at the kind of end-ish, I guess you could say, of that part of the career. Yeah. I worked most of my trade in town in Edmonton, just moving from shop to shop. Right. And I just knew it wasn't really for me. There's like a few instances where I was just like the safety aspect of it, like kind of got like a little bit dicey. Like just, working in trades, you can come across these situations. And then I had some issues with my eye, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this forever. Yeah. So it wasn't actually, you know my roommate Matt? Yes. Or my business partner Matt. He used to be my roommate. Okay. During our 20s, the whole party phase, and like all our friends from McMurray would come down. We'd just all hang out and stuff. And it was great. Yeah. And after living together for so long, I knew Matt wanted to open a business for a long time. He wanted to open up a gym. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm working, like making a decent amount of cash. I can definitely be an investor in your gym idea, right? But he used to float back in the day when he was like 19, 18, and down in Red Deer in like an old lady's house. Right. So he wanted to actually figure out what type of business or what kind of gym he wanted to open up by using a float tank. Oh, okay. And kind of like clarify his head. Yeah. He couldn't find a float tank in town. Right. So he's looking, and then like the light bulb clicked on. He's like, I wonder if you can open like a float center. So he looked into it, and there actually, at that time, was when all the float centers were opening up. Right. So he asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to run a float center? Yeah.
And now it's kind of transitioning out of the millwright phase. And I was like, well, I don't want to go back to school right now. So yes, I do.
Oh, cool.
And like, funny enough, all the millwright skills, like they kind of like intertwine here quite a bit because of all the pump systems and like the mechanical systems. It's nothing like so complex, but it does transfer over. So that's kind of how the whole route started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's personal fitness and I'm millwright, so.
There we go. Yeah. So you guys have had this place for a while. Like I came here, I think like 2 years ago was the first time I came and floated. So how long have you guys been in business for?
January 26, 2016.
Oh wow, so it's been going well, and like obviously I know your brothers. It didn't always start off in the location that we are here currently.
Yeah, we actually started doing this in the townhouse where Matt was my roommate, where I live currently.
Right.
But like a little yellow townhouse just north of 107th Ave. We started floating people in our basement.
Right.
We floated over 1,200 people in our basement in a laundry room.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was back in 2014.
Right, right. Yeah. That's crazy. So like explain that to me, because like when you float in itself, it's an experience, it's different. It's like, I don't think it's mainstream as of right now.
Yeah.
More and more people are definitely finding out about it, mind you, but back then it must have been fringe, and people were like, okay, coming into your basement in the laundry room, be like, yeah, just get in the tank, go for a float.
Basically, like all we did was got like a shower rod and like long enough to like kind of like cover the end of the basement, so it kind of just looked like a long hallway.
Right.
And then like right when you go downstairs in the house, there's a bathroom, which is perfect, and then underneath that or down the hallway is the laundry room.
Right.
So we just like the ceiling's unfinished and stuff, so we just like went to like this like fabric store on the south side and got like a big sheet and just stapled it to the roof and kind of made it like loopy, and the light kind of made it look like kind of like, you know, kind of spa-like.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, this kind of works, right? You put some sheets up on the walls to not get the salt spray and stuff.
That's right.
And then, we happened to find a float tank, like one of the original kind of OG float tanks from like the 80s. Yeah. Just happened to fit in our laundry room perfectly. Right. So I just moved the washer and dryer, covered those up with sheets. Yeah. Put the float tank there, covered that with a sheet. So just, you walk into the room and it's just basically like a float tank entrance. Oh, okay. You pop inside, floating there.
And so now, like you're talking old school float tank, now you have these rooms that you go into where it's like, it's a shower area, and then you open the door and you're in like, what would you call it? Like, it's a room? Is it a capsule? Like,
it's like a, I guess people refer to them as rooms or cabins. Okay. I guess like I just call them float rooms, which is kind of confusing because like the float room isn't a float room. So you can call it a float cabin. Okay. But basically it's like you had, when floating kind of started, you had like a lot of pods and smaller kind of compartments, just like purpose built. Go in here, lay down, float, and like it's narrow and get drips of water. Yeah. These are kind of like the next generation of that. That's right. Where you can actually stand up inside, there's stars in the ceiling, like it's a lot more spacious. Yeah, definitely. And so much of like what people are apprehensive to is like anxiety and claustrophobia. Right. So they want to go into like a small space that's already kind of like impactful. So they have to, we try and like make it not such a small space. No, it doesn't seem small at all in there, that's for sure. Yeah. Like you have a lot of space, like where you're floating, as well as the upper space. Exactly. And then when you come out and you have the shower area, it's a long amount of area. You don't feel claustrophobic at all. Yeah, I hope not. Yeah. So for the people at home who've never floated before and they may be interested in doing it, like what is the type of experience that your clients kind of tell you they get while they're in there? What are the benefits of going for a float? Yeah, it's like, that's like the wild part. It's like it's everything and everything. You know, it's like I've used kind of, we were talking yesterday and stuff, like you can go in once and go in a second time and it's not the same. That's right. They're different in their own ways. Most people are coming in for like, honestly, just stress relief, relaxation. Because like all it's really doing is just, all a float tank is just an environment that allows your parasympathetic nervous system to like respond. Right. So like you cut out all stimulus and then like your brain doesn't have to focus on much basically. Right. And then in turn it like kind of just puts you in a meditative state, and that's enhanced by like the lack of stimulus going in and like the weightlessness on your body from all the salt and everything. Yeah. But you just go and float in this like void of darkness for a bit, and you just come out feeling super relaxed, and like trippy strange things can kind of happen in there from time to time. Yeah, they can. Yeah. So like some people do it for that element, some people do it for like just stress relief. Like I've been hearing more stories and stuff from like some of our team and stuff where they say they've been asking people, one of our team members is asking people like, oh, why do you come float so much? Yeah. Some people are like, oh, because I'm an angry person, which you would never never ever expect with some people. Like they're the friendliest people that you ever see.
Right.
But people come in for just a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you got a recent surgery or they're in recovery or sports, athletics, they like to work out, just like athletic recovery and just a whole spectrum of things.
That's right.
So
I would say nowadays, especially because of like the pandemic and COVID and the stress level people are having, like this is great for mental health.
Yeah.
Great for mental health. I know for me, like I'm a pretty chill guy and I meditate a lot, but going into those tanks, like it's another level of that meditation that I would do for sure. And you come out and it's hard to be upset or even like mindful of like your worries once you come out of that. It's just a very cool, chill experience.
Yeah. Like the mindfulness aspect is such an important element. That's like one of the main reasons that I personally want to like actually open a flow studio, is because I think it's so important for people to kind of like reflect inwards and like kind of achieve some kind of mindfulness, so they can kind of like just see themselves and how they address the world.
That's right.
And it's such an important thing, because, you know, if we all treat each other better, then hey, you know, like world's a better place, in my opinion.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Now, yesterday we were talking about this. When I go in there, I go just, it's black, no sound.
Yeah.
But if that's a bit intimidating for some people, like you said, there are stars, you can listen to music, like you can do it more so than just isolating all of your senses. It can have more experiences in there, right?
Exactly, yeah. Like we have lights in the basin, so underwater, and then lights on the ceiling. So if you don't want to be in the pitch black, you don't have to be. We don't often play audio, but you can. Like some people bring in meditation tracks, and people will bring in certain albums they like, things like that. So there is ways to kind of get used to the process. Yeah. Although like I'm a purist at nature, and I'm always just like, you're gonna want to at least float like with nothing. Yeah, that's right. Eventually,
that's
right. Get to that point, but it just takes time for people to warm up to different things too.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool, man. Like it's an experience to say the least. Like, for me, I know the first time I went in there, it was borderline psychedelic, like without any form of narcotics whatsoever. It was just like me and my brain. And I was like, man, this is wild. But then yesterday, like it was not like that at all. It was a completely different experience where like I couldn't hold on to a thought to save my life. Like it really did like clear my brain. Yeah. And you lose all track of time when you're in there.
Exactly. I say it's like time traveling to some degree, you know, like you can go into a float tank for an hour and it'll feel like 5 minutes. Actually, I know when we went to the conference, there's a story from another center where some places will play music to kind of get people in for the first 10 minutes. Yeah. And this is one of those places. So they said one of their customers went in, he laid down the tank, they're playing music. Yeah. And he passed out so quickly that by the time the song was over, he thought he was in there for like an hour and a half. Right. And he just got out. Yeah. And they're like, oh, why are you out so early? And he's just like, what do you mean I was in there for like an hour and a half, right? Yeah. He's just that relaxed already. That's right. Just like that quickly. Yeah. And it doesn't happen necessarily like that every single time. Right. But it can, right? Yeah. So. Now when you're in there and you're pitch black, there was a red button. Yeah. So like what's like there's a bunch of different things in there. So like is that for somebody who's like, oh, I'm freaking out, it's too dark, I hit that and lights come on? Like I never hit the button. So what's that about? Essentially, like it's essentially just an emergency button. Okay. So like like kind of like a panic button. Yeah. We've had it maybe pressed like 4 times since we've been open. Right. Because I mean the easiest thing, if you feel like you're trapped in a float tank, like you literally just have to bend your knee. That's right. And then touch your foot to the bottom and you'll stabilize yourself and you can just sit up. That's right. So but obviously in a moment of panic, people aren't going to think clearly like that. That's right. So that's right. They need something to like jam, and then we can go in and get them help to kind of get out of the tank, things like that too. It's really cool, man. I enjoyed it. So that's the end of the show, really. I think we're close to 20 minutes. It's hard for me to tell. Oh, crazy. I know. It flies. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you very much for letting me like experience it. Amazing. I'll definitely be back again and again. But before I cut you loose, everybody at the end of the show gets a shameless shout out or plug. So you got the cameras on you, you got the lights on you. Have fun. Ooh, I get to shout out people? Yes, sir. Oh, crazy. Okay. Well, first I gotta. Can I look at the camera? Yeah, you can do anything you want. You can do whatever I want. Okay. Sweet. Well, first I gotta thank everybody who kind of made this a thing. So that's my family and like my business partner, my business partner's family, all our customers that come in and actually have supported us, especially during the pandemic, people that kept their memberships going because they wanted to see us like survive. I can't thank everybody enough for that, to even be open to having this conversation with the camera and Elliot right now. if it wasn't for you guys, then like we wouldn't be here, and then just everybody that's associated. My buddy down the States, Justin Asher, thank you, right? And yeah, my beautiful partner, Lauren, she's been a incredible help during these many years of stress. As you know, opening a business is kind of crazy. Yeah, all my family, all my friends, and just like the closest people around me, like all the support, you know, it's just all love is all we've ever got since we've been doing this. And, you know, there's a smidge of doubt here and there, but it's so negligible, which is not what I expected. So everybody that has supported us over the years, just thank all of you. And we hope that we continue to do this for many years to come, and we can expand and grow and get more people into this and kind of get the mindfulness to spread across Canada, the world, wherever. So, yeah.
There you go. Awesome. And for the people at home, if they are down in Edmonton, where are we located?
So we're on 120th Street and 109th Ave. Basically, you're driving down 111th Ave, south of the Tim Hortons. Yeah. Basically, just like a little bit northwest of the downtown core, not too far away from the core of Edmonton. And yeah, we're here. We're open 7 days a week. You know,
there you go, man. Perfect.
Got floats for everybody.
There you go. Well, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, that's been another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. It does mean the world to me. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.
What a deadly old way to end another morning show. Later, boys.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.